You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Here we go. What's going on? Good to have Ricky Bobby back today.
It's nice to be back and Diener not be sitting in the seat, honestly.
It's just kind of weird, yeah.
It's been nice to get away from him for this amount of time, honestly.
Yeah, Diener, unfortunately, was on his way in here and realized he had to take a massive dump.
Yeah,
and
very ill-timed.
Yeah. It was just like, guys, I am sorry, but this is going to take a little while. So
that's what you get for eating leftover tacos for breakfast, Diener.
He's going to be working that out. So we're pulling for him. We're hoping things come out well in the end.
Yeah, I mean, at least one end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
hopefully not both ends.
No, I think it's just one, but
one end,
he'll be a little bit delayed.
Okay.
Well, the late breaking news today is the NFL has come out with their national anthem policy. And there was a whole bunch of crazy ideas that were being kicked around before we got in here. I thought we were going to be talking about our team's going to get a flag, is this and that. It's just like, it seems like you guys are making this a lot more difficult than it needs to be.
They put out so many different options. Diener said this right. I think that they might have just floated that out to the media just to be able to have those ideas and say, almost like a Twitter poll. Like, imagine if NFL did a Twitter poll.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
They want to get reactions.
Yeah, exactly. 15 yards for this. We're going to tell you can eat Campbell soup on the sideline for this. Just like a couple of different things and see how people really felt about it.
It just seems so stupid, and it seemed like what they come down with is, okay, this really kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I think. I like the policy. There's three main points to what they're going to be doing with the national anthem protest and how they're going to handle it with the NFL. Starting this season, all team and league personnel on the field shall stand and show respect for the flag and the anthem. Mm-hmm. That solves that big issue that they've got with people who are watching and getting upset. Mm-hmm. Now, is it going to fix the ratings problem? I don't know, because I don't know how much of that ratings decline you can attribute to the anthem protest or if it's just streaming and everything else that's going on. So, but at least you can't have people pointing the finger saying your ratings are down because of the anthem protest.
Yeah.
Point two of this, players are not going to be required to be on the field for the anthem. So if it violates your conscience and say, I just can't subscribe to this, I don't want to be forced to stand for an anthem I don't believe in and what is happening, you don't have to be there. That's fantastic. Point three, they will then fine a club if the personnel are on the field and then do not stand and decide to kneel for the. So if you want to come out and be like, I want to be on camera, I want to show that I am protesting this, then they're going to find the club, and it sounds like Goodell is going to step in and he will give some kind of punishment then for the player on top of it.
I think it's a good idea. I think the situation of having to giving them the option to sit down and actually go and go back into the locker room is kind of like it's just going to spark another part of the protest where just nobody's going to come out. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like I think it's still going to be a situation where you're going to see some type of backlash with some type of protest.
So what problems still exist for the NFL? What do they not cover here? What still needs to be done? Do you think they covered all their issues right here, or is there still going to be problems when it comes to national anthems in the NFL? Because is there anything going on in the NBA? Was there any national anthem problems, the NBA?
No, I don't think
is there
anybody
anything going on with baseball?
In that situation.
I don't.
Oh, at baseball, I would be very surprised to see anything. That's like the American sport.
Yeah, but so this seems like, for whatever reason, this is unique to one sport, and the NFL is trying to solve the problem.
Well, because it was the Colin Kaepernick, and then because he was a football player, and it kind of transcends it into a bunch of other football players and everything like that. So, I mean, like, I kind of understand why it stayed with that. But you saw, I think in basketball, you have only a few people that people actually care about what they say in the first place. So LeBron was very, he spoke out about a bunch of political things throughout these past couple of years. In baseball, nobody really gives a single crap about anybody in baseball. Like, there's no stars in baseball that are like the face of anything. And the only one that did anything was Bryce Harper, just about baseball, making baseball fun again. And other than that, there was really nothing.
So the NFL solved their problems, do you think?
It depends. I think that nowadays everybody's going to get mad about everything. So if they say you can't kneel, but you can stay in the locker room, and mass teams stay in the locker room, then you're going to get people saying, well, they should be out there. I don't think you're ever going to solve this issue unless you say, no matter what, you have to stand for the national anthem on the sideline.
It's better to have players in the locker room not coming out, right?
But
I think it's going to be a roll call that I have a feeling announcers, unless the NFL's like, don't bring any attention to this. If a player's not out there, don't mention it. If a whole team decides not to come out, let's just talk about how pretty the sky is and, jets flying overhead.
I mean, that's usually me, so yeah.
Yeah,
understand that. It makes sense to the point of saying that this is a way to curb it, but in reality, how much is it fixing? I don't know.
Diener's in here. He's worked out his issues. Tell me
How to come out.
Well, I don't know how. If you can say I worked out my issues, I have a lot of issues, but I'm here.
Okay, that's good.
enough.
All right.
That's fair, right?
What do you think about the NFL's announcement for their national anthem protest, how they're going to handle it? Is it problem solved? Are they doing the right thing here? Is there anything else they need to add to it? And are they going to have continued problems this season?
My first reaction when I saw it was I was surprised they went that far. Because it was funny because Ricky and I were talking about this earlier today when they came out with the leak that they were thinking of a 15-yard penalty if players knelt.
Gosh, that seems so complicated, though.
It would have been so complicated.
So, like,
How do you
what?
you put it to like the kickoff? Like, how do you do that?
So, yeah.
And I said to him, like, I'm surprised that it came out, and then it hit me. I'm like, they probably put it out there to gauge the public's reaction. They did it on purpose, and they figured, okay, we're probably going too far. They went even further with this. They're going to fine teams if players kneel. But it's kind of weird because they're saying, almost like with the gambling thing, where it's no longer a federal law, where you can't gamble, but leaving it up to the states.
Yep.
So Roger Goodell said, okay, everybody is required to now stand, but the teams can handle it how they want. Just be prepared to pay a fine if you allow your guys to kneel. I think they went further than a lot of people expected them to. I know more than I did.
Totally.
And I think it's going to quench.
Is it right? Did they go right? They land the right spot?
They landed on the spot that they needed to save face with Middle America.
I think what they did was right. I think this is the way to handle it. You can't continue being the one sport that seems to be not patriotic.
No, they're the only one.
And they're, like I said, you're not having baseball, you're not having NBA. You've got one sport that seems to be a problem, and it really is upsetting a lot of people. You don't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. They do need to go further in what they've said, saying that they are going to stand up for social justice, and they need to make sure that they've got a lot of policies that continue to do that.
They donate a lot of money.
They need to continue to do that. They need to continue to have that stance and say, look, just because we're not the platform now for your political protest, we still are going to fight against the injustices that you wanted to stand up against.
And I think it was Bob Mara, right? The owner of the Giants? He had a great quote earlier that I was reading, and it made so much sense, where he said, it's not so much that we're against trying to fix the issue. He's like, the issue we know is there now. They brought attention to it. Now we just have to take other steps to fix the issues that they want to fix. Kneeling isn't going to do anything else now. They brought attention to it, so now it's time to move forward. I thought it was a great point by him.
Yeah.
They did the right thing here. They did what they needed to do to save face.
They did what they could do. I don't know what else are they supposed to do? Because if they were to say, listen, you have to be there and you have to absolutely stand for the flag, no matter what, it would have been riots.
Right. So they found the middle ground.
Seems
our
perfect,
policy. Yeah, our policy is you need to stand, which is the NBA's policy, by the way. No one's ever called them, all these different names and saying that they're being prejudiced or not sensitive to, players' opinions and needs.
They did the locking arms thing in the NBA.
Right.
That I do remember.
Which is fine. They're still standing. I
That's
didn't have a problem when they were doing that in the NFL.
That's what the Patriots did in the beginning. That's what. Remember when Jerry Jones came out with them and they locked arms?
They locked arms.
And they knelt before the anthem and then got up and stayed locked arms for the entire anthem. That was. I mean, it was good by them.
It's fine. It's just the thing that people have the problem with, which we all know, is kneeling during the anthem. So they found the middle ground. If you're out there, you are now required to stand. That is now a league rule. And it's not like Trump was going to forget about this. Just yesterday, he had I think it was Matt Kenseth team who won the NASCAR championship last season.
Yeah.
They were at the White House. And he said yesterday he called out the NFL again.
Well,
where he said, you guys stand and the NFL doesn't.
He does these things for his base. It's such a rallying cry. And every time he does it, they love it. So they're like, yeah, man.
He's no kneeling in NASCAR.
He did. That's what he said.
Takes a little power away from Trump now. What's he going to complain about? And does Kaepernick get a job?
Now that I think is a more valid question. Does it take any power away from Trump? Absolutely not, because Trump won technically. So I mean, the kneeling's over. Trump won.
He'll use this as a rallying cry.
Oh my God! Of course. Are you kidding me? He's going to go to like Canton, Ohio, and have a rally.
I'm sure he's actually tweeting as we speak. If he's not already fired out 5 tweets we're not aware of.
I would not be. I would not be surprised if he did. And I think in that situation right there, he won. Yes, but. Does it solve all the problems? I don't think so. I think there's going to be new problems because they just love new problems.
Well, all of a sudden, the NBA playoffs got good.
Yeah.
They got great, actually.
How about that?
And we're going to discuss, what do you think about the newfangled jerseys that you're seeing on Cleveland and on Golden State? You buying or you selling? We'll discuss next.
Stop. No. Kevin's Other Show.
The KVJ.
Don't tell those other guys. 640 The Hurricane.
Couple of possibilities here. There can be a catch and shoot for a tie for Golden State, or Houston committed foul as Livingston inbounds. He has Curry. This is for the tie. And that will do it.
Had a look. Had a great look. Can't get a better one from the best three-point shooter in the game.
Yeah, did not fall. Steph Curry had a chance.
Klay Thompson had a chance before that, too.
He did. Klay Thompson's attempt was just pitiful.
He airballed it.
That was just god-awful.
It was really – and Kevin Durant was saying, he goes, I probably should have waited for him to set his feet. No, yeah, probably.
That's usually a good idea.
He was literally like on twinkle toes when he let that one off, and it shows.
It didn't work out well. But, yeah, they got another shot, and it did not fall. Here's Steph Curry talking about that final 3 that would have tied the game last night.
You look at how the game, went. We were in pretty good shape for 44 minutes with a chance to win and take real control of the series, but it didn't happen. Now we got to fight and really understand this is a true playoff type experience, and it's not going to be easy against a great team like Houston. So we're up for it though.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Good for him.
Doesn't sound too enthusiastic, does he?
Not really.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He's like, you got things to do, but we're gonna do them.
Well, they're calling that game must win for the Rockets last night. They got it. How are you feeling about this series? Everybody was wanting to shut the door on the Rockets. Do you open it back up again, say it's anybody's series, or the Warriors still a big favorite?
I think the Warriors are still a big favorite, but it really depends on Andre Iguodala. Like Andre Iguodala being out of that lineup was such a damper on their lineup, and Steve Kerr said it. He goes, towards the end, we were making rotations that we're not used to making, which I think was kind of the issue when the Cavs had lost to, I think, when the Celtics, second game for the Celtics, when you saw Rodney Hood and Larry Nance Jr. and everything like that getting a lot of minutes, you're like, they're going way out of their normal rotation, and then that's what happened. They get demolished.
Yeah. Here was Kerr's comments last night.
Our normal sub pattern obviously was skewed anyway with Andre's absence, but I felt like in the fourth quarter, we just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Set everything off. Couldn't
Which
get
is
the groove.
surprising. I mean, that's the excuse they're using. Golden State runs out of gas. Aren't they known as the team that runs and guns? And
see, that was my exact. I'm like, you wimps. You're really going to use Andre Iguodala as your crutch for this? Like, you played poorly. You made poor. Like Kevin Durant said, I made a mistake. Steph Curry said, I made a mistake. It was a lot of just really general mistakes that the Golden State Warriors don't make that they were making last night. So they can't just blame it all on fatigue.
I don't buy it. It's really a bad look for Steve Kerr, I think, to use fatigue as an excuse. Because what happened last night to Golden State does not happen to Golden State. We were just talking about yesterday, 16 playoff games in a row they won at home, right?
Yeah, broke the thing. Yeah, they had the record postseason winning streak at 16 games broken.
They were leading
Best ever.
by double digits in the fourth quarter. I saw a stat earlier, 39 out of 40 games in that situation, they had won.
Yeah. That's where they came apart, and I guess that's what he's trying to say. The fourth quarter, they didn't have enough gas. They got outscored 25-12 in the fourth.
Oh, listen, Kerr. It's only game 4. If you're running out of gas now, then you guys are in trouble.
Well, this is the one thing. They're not used to playing these, longer series. I mean, this is going to be the longest playoff round that it's played in, like, a while.
This is true.
It's going to go at least 6 games.
I mean, this is what conditioning is all about. So now you're going to have to see, Warriors, do they have enough? Are they conditioned well enough? So does the favor flip over to the Rockets, saying, okay, the Rockets might be a little bit more accustomed to this in Golden State?
Yeah, it's an interesting point because the last time they played a long series
Yeah.
was Game 7, which they lost to the Cavs, which is also the last time they lost a home playoff game when the Cavs won the title in Golden State.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's really hard to win in that arena, and for them to do that really puts a statement up, especially when they were down 12 points in the fourth quarter. Like I mean, like it's huge. But it's funny, they play defense, which is odd.
Yeah,
So
that is weird.
Houston's got home court now, Game 5,
Yep.
Thursday night, Houston. They're back to home court advantage. You got 2 Houston, you got 1 in Golden State.
You know what, and that's not an easy place to play either. It's not an easy place, and then now specifically, it's not going to be an easy place coming down with home court advantage. Like Houston is going to turn out.
I'm just glad we got a close game.
Finally,
Glad
right?
it's nice to actually be watching a playoff game in the fourth quarter. It's nice to be able to see somebody with the ball in their hands that can change the course of the game, and Steph Curry comes up short. But, I mean, that's like the first we've seen in either conference final.
I think that's also part of the reason why, even though we're so kind of like Cavs, Golden State Warrior fatigued, there wasn't that many blowouts in those games. And, like, it really did come down to the last couple maneuvers that they made. So it's like you were engaged for longer. And this goes back to my point of saying that the NBA needs something like that, is because you need – if you wind up going to a finals and just see a blowout, it's just, like, stupid. You don't want to see that.
We mentioned this yesterday when you were out, and what would you rather have if you're the NBA? Would you rather have a lopsided final with all your superstars in it, or would you rather have – 2 teams filled with nobodies that's close and goes down to 7 games? What's going to be better for ratings?
Two teams filled with nobodies that goes down to 7 games.
You think that's going to be better for ratings?
Why, just because of drama?
Yeah,
Suspense?
because I mean, there's
See, I
enough people.
completely disagree. I
Yeah.
think if you had 2 small market teams with nobodies on them and it goes 7 games, I think people would be like 7 games of who cares. I think even a lopsided 5-game series with superstars in it would get better ratings.
Yeah, I know, but you'll turn it off halfway through. Like if it's a lopsided game by like the mid third quarter, you're like, well, that was fun. Let's see
But
what's
do
on
you turn
CBS.
it on in the first place? I think you got to have the stars to get there in the first place.
I think the finals themselves garner enough attention, and because it would depend. I think it would depend on the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. If it was Celtics, Houston going against each other because they beat the juggernaut that's the Warriors and they beat LeBron James, all of a sudden you're like, wow. This is really interesting. Now, you have the 2 teams that should be in the finals that are not in the finals. They got beat by these other teams that nobody expected to be. Well, Houston a little bit. Nobody expects anything out of the Celtics. They're the underdog, and people love the underdog story. I think that situation would garner more attention.
I think the best case scenario for the NBA is to have LeBron James and Kevin Durant in the finals.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
I've said that a billion times.
I agree, and I think that's how you get the best ratings if you have those 2 guys playing against each other.
Yeah, and they haven't played against each other in the finals. Well, it was last year, right? Because Kevin Durant was there.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was the last time was when Kevin Durant was on the
Okay,
Thunder.
so,
Oklahoma,
yeah.
on the Thunder.
And that was people. Remember when that happened? We all thought, "Oh man, we're going to be seeing these guys play against each other every year," and it's only happened twice now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I actually tend to agree with you, Kevin, that even though we might have fatigue, it would be the 4th straight year they end up playing each other. It's the big names.
Well, you know, when you are a sports nerd and you're as ingrained in it as we are for what we have to do, keep in mind there's a lot of passive fans out there who are only going to dial in when they have those well-branded names. Even a team like the Celtics right now that doesn't really necessarily have the household names out there playing, that passive fan probably couldn't name 2 starters on the Celtics right now.
it's a fair point.
So they're going to tune in and be like, "Oh, LeBron James. Of course I know LeBron James."
yeah.
If you're marketing to the non basketball fan, then yeah.
Yeah, in the cities, yeah, it would do great in Boston. But outside of Boston, you don't have a lot of the big names. You'd be
I think
okay,
it does
maybe.
depend. I think it does
I think
depend,
it
though,
do well,
because-
but I don't think it's going to do to the same level as having a LeBron James.
Yeah, well, I mean, Boston's a pretty good fan base. The Knicks have a very good
But
fan base.
outside of Boston is what I'm saying. Yeah, if I'm
Miami has a good fan
in
base when they're
Phoenix,
winning.
If I'm in Phoenix and I don't know anything about Boston, I'm like, I don't care because I don't know any names.
It's true. I mean, it's a fair point, but I'm just saying that it could still be really good.
I mean, but let's
Yeah.
face it. If Boston makes it to the final, the biggest name that they're going to have to promote is Brad Stevens. What are
Yeah.
they going to do? Al Horford is in the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, Al Horford's a great player.
Stop.
What do you mean
Household name.
stop?
Well, because it's not a household name.
Why? Because he's not LeBron James.
Because he's not
He's not
someone-
Dwayne Wade.
Al Horford played on
He's
the
not
Hawks.
the rickety
Yeah.
Chris Bosh.
That's correct.
Probably know better for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that hopefully the NBA is going to get, I think why they're excited now, is like going, wow, if we could get superstars and a close series like this,
It'd be great.
that's the ultimate best.
Yeah.
That's what you root for. What do you think about the jerseys? I noticed last night Golden State, they were wearing the jerseys that simply said town, which if you're not from there, I guess, Oaktown,
yeah.
you get it. So it's take
Cool.
out the oak, it's just town.
Take out the oak.
So it's just town. That's where they get Oaktown. And then the other night, Cleveland, they're just wearing jerseys that says the land.
The land, yeah.
Yeah. Is it too cute or are you buying? You buying into it being going, that's awesome. I like going that vague with your jerseys because I got to go out and buy that.
For everyone within the 50-mile radius of the city, it's great. I think it's awesome because it's got a hometown feel. Other than that, I didn't know what the town meant until you just explained it to me.
I thought we were talking about that movie.
Yeah,
And I'm like, wait a second.
Well, Ben Affleck?
Boston was wearing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Oakland, you go Oaktown. That's what they'll say.
I don't know what it meant. The
Cleveland,
land I
they're called
get.
the land. Yeah.
That one I get. No, I think it's stupid.
You're selling.
It's
Yeah.
pretty dopey.
You selling?
But, of course. I mean, they're selling like hotcakes. You kidding me? Because look at who's wearing them.
Well, I'm saying
so you're
buy.
buying it.
So I'm buying. You're selling you're buying the concept. I'm buying the concept. You're selling
yeah,
the
I don't
concept.
like it. I don't like it.
I'm buying the concept because people are buying the jerseys.
Well, yeah. I mean, people will buy the jerseys.
Big
It's
time.
Anything. I mean, like, it's like when
Because it's different.
Are
yeah,
they big sellers?
exactly.
They'll be huge sellers. They'll do great.
I think it's hokey.
I think it's awesome because it's super cool. It's vague. You've got to know both cities to get what the thing is, and it's a different jersey. People are going to buy it because if you've already got a Cavs jersey, why would I buy another one? Oh, because this says the
Oh,
land.
it's the collector's edition, the land.
Talking about money. Talking about $353 million
Holy moly.
for the city of Miami. Why? I'll tell you next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Oh, you like the way that sounds?
Actually, I don't. It sounds like one of the channels is out of it.
I was like,
What happened?
you like the way that sounds?
No, actually, I don't. It doesn't sound good at all.
Sorry, Jason Aldean.
Actually sounds horrible.
Thanks for asking, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, Tampa is going to be jamming tonight, baby.
Yeah.
Should I retire this song?
I think so.
Is that it? Was that the last time we're playing that one?
Yeah,
I like
think
the
so.
song. It's just, I don't know, something, you got something funky going on
All
there.
right, I gotta check on that.
Yeah. I got to tell you, going to a Tampa Bay Lightning game is fantastic. The last time they were in the Stanley Cup a couple years ago, I can't remember how long ago, maybe 3 years is what it feels like. in
I
my
can tell
mind.
you exactly, but I'll let you tell your story first because I have a gripe with this. But go ahead.
Okay. I went down there, and how do they pronounce this? Amalie Arena? Is
Yeah.
that what you call it? Amalie Arena? We went down there. We got a hotel right across the street, stayed there. The energy, the vibe. See, I love that kind of stuff. I'm all about the ambiance. We went right outside the arena. It was during the Stanley Cup. Couldn't get in. Didn't pay for a ticket because it's way too expensive. They show the games outside of the arena on the building.
That's dope.
And you could get like cocktails, whatever, just sit, chill, watch the game. People brought lawn chairs, and it was like that kind of environment. The game's going on right inside. Block party atmosphere all around that whole area. It's kind of down by the convention center, right off the water. Freaking loved it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is what you need. Hello, Miami. This is an environment. This is exciting. This is great.
Yeah.
So I loved it. So I imagine Tampa's going to be electric tonight. for
Game
that,
7?
Game 7.
You always see that when like the Raptors were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Right, last year against the Heat, or 2
Hey,
years ago. 2 years ago. Against the Heat.
You saw
I remember that. The crowd they had outside the arena.
same thing with Cleveland. Cleveland had that big crowd outside the arena for the finals.
I would argue I would rather be outside than I would be inside watching the game, oddly enough.
Miami during that big run with LeBron you could be able to watch the finals games. You could buy tickets to watch it inside the arena on the Jumbotron, which I thought was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of my entire life.
Yeah, I don't get that.
But in reality, do you really want to sit out in that parking lot and watch anything?
No.
In AAA, you're saying?
Yeah, you don't want to do that. It's not.
I don't even know where they would do it. Where would you do it?
Well, you'd have to sit on the steps, I assume. I don't. I
I don't even know where you do
There's
it.
big
That's the problem.
video boards out there that could do it, but
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, they don't have that same.
Well, that's why they
it's
used to
not-
have the watch parties inside the arena. Is
Yeah,
what
that's
it was.
that's kind of lame to me.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't know why.
You said you watch a jumbotron.
I don't know why I loved it outside. I was like, "Oh, and this is great." You could hear they would pump
that's
out.
really cool.
You could hear the games. Everything was going on like during commercial breaks or like jamming music, and you're like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds like you had a great time. Did you have a good time with that?
I loved it.
Yeah, because I was supposed to do that for a Garth Brooks concert. I had everything planned 3 years ago during that run.
Yeah.
Everything was planned. Me and my siblings, we were going to take a trip together for the first time in years.
You act
we
like
were
the
going to go
Brady
to
Bunch.
Tampa.
Me and my siblings.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of siblings. We were going to go to Tampa to see
Mormon?
the Garth Brooks concert
Yeah.
at Emily Arena. We had the hotel booked, probably the same one across the street.
Yeah.
We had the whole thing planned out. The waterfront, it was going to be a lot of fun. Tampa Bay makes the Stanley Cup, the whole thing gets canceled. My entire experience was ruined. And we didn't go.
Then they didn't reschedule the concert.
Nope.
Really? They just said sorry?
We didn't get to go see Garth Brooks again until 2 years later when he came down to BB&T.
Wow.
Yep. And then my brother didn't go.
2 years and 30 more pounds.
Exactly. He did get a little heavy. That's my gripe with the Lightning. I actually hate the Tampa Bay Lightning because of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Holding a grudge,
Wow.
huh?
I am holding a grudge. They ruined my experience.
Yeah.
We're never going to get that minute and a half back.
I had to get it off my chest.
Eastern Conference Final is, I mean, you want to talk about going the distance. What is this, the fourth straight year? It's gone 7 games.
No, it's awesome. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
great theater. And it's a shame, too, because we talk about how bad the conference finals in the NBA has been up until last night.
Yeah.
And we just completely disregard how great hockey has been.
Oh, well, hockey playoffs. Hockey playoffs is one of those things that I remember a couple years ago when the Rangers were in the playoffs against the Kings, and I'm a Rangers fan. And my mom, after they got eliminated, literally said, "Don't make me watch hockey ever again," because you are so just tied up. Your heart is in knots.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's extreme. I think it's better than football playoffs.
Yeah. I don't even know what's going on, and I'm excited.
Because it's the reason why you get excited is the same reason why people like soccer. It's because of the disparity of goals. So all of a sudden you get one goal,
right?
You may never score again. So every single time you're
Gotta get
around the
Yeah.
and for the opposite teams, like there's a possibility. So every time you're around that, you're like and it's amazing.
Arguably, the two best crowds are hockey and soccer, and then I'd actually put college football at 3 from what I've seen.
Yeah,
on TV.
College football is nuts.
Yeah,
That's fair.
The right place it is.
The NFL is actually a horrible crowd.
It
depends on where you go.
Yeah, it depends upon where you go. But yeah, for the most part, there's only a few stadiums that I've seen or been in where I'm like going, okay, this rivals a really good college game.
Maybe like Kansas City.
Kansas City's great for that. I lived there a couple years.
So I would say those probably a good
You ever
one.
been to a Dolphins-Jets game?
Yes, and it's
I mean, that's-
terrifying.
Yeah, who's saying
In Miami?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It
and I
is.
mean, I've been to other Dolphins games that have not been against the Jets, and it's just like going to see a movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dolphins Jets
Yeah.
and Dolphins Patriots is nuts.
I've fallen asleep. No lie, I've fallen asleep at a Dolphins game,
I don't blame you.
and for probably about a quarter. I was
Really?
and I wasn't hammered. I was just bored.
You were just out.
No, I swear. Yeah, it was.
They were playing like the old Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. Ticket prices for Stanley Cup. I don't know. Maybe this is the novelty of. I'm wondering if this is the novelty of having Las Vegas in it.
Yes.
Or is it because you've got Las Vegas in it? And is it going to be harder to get premier tickets when Las Vegas starts getting pro teams like the Raiders? Because so many people will be in town that are vested into sports because of gambling that will it be a tough ticket if you want to go see even the Raiders in a regular game? Are they going to be sold out? They're saying tickets going for about $10,000. I'm not stunned by that. I mean, you know, when the Heat were in when the Heat do anything well, I mean, courtside tickets are $10,000.
Yes.
I remember after LeBron left, trying to get tickets to a Miami Heat game was like $40 for midsection.
Yeah.
It was like after he left, it's people like the winning. But in this situation, the same reason why people spent a lot of money to go see the Cubs World Series in Wrigley Field, because they wanted to see history. They want to be a part of history. And what the Vegas Knights are doing right now is history. People want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting.
I don't know if Oakland Raiders are going to be any type of history unless they wind up going to the Super Bowl, but they wouldn't be hosted in there.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do because I mean, Vegas is a decent-sized city, but it seems like it's almost got the South Florida feel where it's a lot of transients.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily people that completely buy in, but I think they have the advantage of the gamblers and the people who are there watching the sports. If you've ever been to a casino, you know all the sports bars are packed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I've never been to Vegas, so I have no clue.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
Yeah.
I've been.
I understand.
Yeah, you can get
Yeah.
there.
I don't remember a lot, but I remember.
I
know
might,
you were there.
You know what? I might have been there. Who knows?
It's a big deal on the tune of $353 million for Miami.
I like guacamole.
That's what they brought in, the city did in 2010 with the last Super Bowl. And what they're talking about doing with this pretty tight four-city rotation, the NFL's announcing Miami's going to be a part of it, New Orleans, Arizona, probably in competition for the fourth slot. You're going to have Los Angeles, Las Vegas. I think the NFL's learning a lesson because when you take it to the cold weather cities, there's not a lot for other people to do.
No.
And I think ultimately they're hearing, like, we're not having that much fun in Detroit.
Or Minneapolis.
Or Minneapolis.
Minnesota.
I mean, it was, the snow that was on the ground, there wasn't a lot of things to do.
No.
So they're talking about keeping them in the warmer cities. You open up a new stadium, okay, we'll give you an opportunity to host a Super Bowl. So you will still see, to celebrate this city's new stadium, them getting a Super Bowl. So you might have, some of this cold weather of Green Bay, but they never will. They'll never do a new Lambeau Field. So I don't think there'll ever be a Super Bowl in Green Bay.
So this is going to be a thing now where the Super Bowl will be in those cities from now on, just on a rotation.
Yeah, they'll do it
Pretty
like a periodic wild card. But I mean, it's been 8 years since Miami's had a Super Bowl, and it's all because of the stadium renovations and everything they had to do. And we're after, I think it's Atlanta. You got next year's Super Bowl is going to Atlanta, then Miami's got 2020. So it'll be a 10-year gap between Super Bowls. But hopefully in the future, you're going to see a Super Bowl here in 2020, and then hopefully maybe even by 2025 or 2026, Miami gets another Super Bowl. So it'll cut down.
Yeah.
When you see $353 million, and that was 8 years ago, what it brings in, it's a huge deal for the city, and it's big for Miami.
Yeah, and that inflation, when it comes to a couple of years, you're talking 10 years in between, that $353 million probably goes more north of $400 million in 2020 dollars.
Yeah.
So it's
everything's
huge.
more expensive in Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
Oof.
So, I mean, it's a big deal for the city. So they're going to be in that solid rotation.
It's a
We'll
great
see what
tourist
happens.
attraction. So I mean, to be able to put people in there for that certain reason, but I would be very interested to see how many people, if they do a Super Bowl in Vegas at the Vegas Stadium, how many people actually show up
Instead of just watching it at the casinos?
No, just like buy tickets and just get so obliterated of being in Vegas, just never friggin' show up.
Just forget.
It'd be packed. And I think they're going to get one coming up. You've got Atlanta, then Miami, then goes Tampa. And I'm surprised Tampa's not in the rotation because they usually used to get a lot. L.A. gets it, then
And
Arizona,
Ybor City's
New Orleans.
boss, too. You ever been down to Ybor City?
No, I haven't.
Woo, that's a good time.
I know. I'm surprised Tampa's not in the
You wouldn't know.
rotation.
You don't know
so,
good times.
Anyway, at least it's getting a little bit more regular. Coming up here, we're going to be talking a little bit of gambling. The opening week point spreads are out for college football. A couple big games, including the Canes against the LSU Tigers. What is that spread set at? We'll let you know next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Get used to this. Even this year, gambling on college football. I mean, I think if you've gambled on college football, it's going to continue. And are more people really going to be gambling? I don't think so. I really don't think like gambling's going to go through the roof and like how many people are going to start gambling.
Got a
I think
record year in gambling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you already gambled, you're going to gamble still. And if you didn't before, maybe a few. But I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. It's just going to be more convenient for you to do it.
I bet you it'll be the same.
Oh,
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the opening week point spreads. Of course, he appreciates it. You've got a couple big games to look at. Canes versus the LSU Tigers.
Do you have the line on that? I haven't seen it.
It's a -3 for the Canes.
Really?
That's a big game for Miami. Yesterday we were talking about how Athlon had them preseason finishing. This year they predict they'll finish number 6. That would put Miami pretty much at just like one loss, and they had them losing to Clemson in the ACC championship. But you wouldn't lose many more to finish 6th. You'd probably have 2 losses tops.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you lost in the ACC title game, that's probably what drops you down to 6, you would think. Right? I mean, so would they go into that game?
I think if they won, they could possibly finish with 2 losses. If they lost to LSU, and then if they didn't lose again until Clemson and then swept and then looked impressive, they could possibly finish 6th, I think. But that's the spread. Canes at -3. Florida State takes on Virginia Tech week 1. They got the Noles at -6.5.
Whoa! I did not expect it to be that big. Wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the quarterback situation just feels so uncertain with Florida State.
It still is, yeah.
Right?
It still is, but you've got 2 solid options.
Willie Taggart's first year. What do we expect out of the offense? That was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be.
You got better athletes, and you even said yesterday Virginia Tech's got a new quarterback.
Yeah.
Or a young quarterback.
They still are kind of mundane, Virginia Tech.
What do you think the spread's going to be when you're talking about the Oklahoma Sooners and the FAU Fight Now?
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. That's
Guess the spread. What do you think?
I can't even begin to think.
I'll give you a hint. Oklahoma's favored.
Yeah, good hint.
That's the hint, really?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as much as people might think. At least I don't think it should be, because FAU can score.
What would you put the spread at? You're setting it.
23.
Okay. What do you think,
23.
Ricky Bobby? What do you set the spread at?
I would probably put it less than that.
Okay.
I don't know. 19?
Diener's right on it. -23 Sooners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's the spread on
How about that?
Well, also, you see the phone never left his hand.
Look, I'm on my notepad, okay? I take notes for the show.
What freaking notes are you taking? What notes
cheats for everything.
He's acting like this isn't an exam. Like
he actually played it off. He's got a good poker hand because he rattled off 23, and I'm like, well, wow, that's impressive.
Wow,
you didn't even flinch.
You are a smart guy. You know that?
Diener cheats at every freaking. I can't even do any games on here anymore.
It's ridiculous
because he cheats every single game.
We had to bring somebody else in here in order to be able to play the games because Diener is just an absolute monster cheater.
Yeah. A couple other good matchups. You got Notre Dame and Michigan.
That's a good one. I miss that matchup every year, man.
Yeah, it's a great one. Fighting Irish at -2 on that. They got Alabama, Louisville. I don't think it's going to be a great game. Louisville has obviously got to replace their quarterback situation. There's just going to be such great athletes. Even though I think they're playing in Louisville, Bama's favored at -28.5. And a sleeper game you may not be paying attention to week 1 in college football.
Yeah?
West Virginia Mountaineers and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Okay.
And they got West Virginia at -7. Mountaineers, they say, could have one of the best offenses. Keep in mind, if you remember the name Will Grier, used to be at Florida. He's the Mountaineers quarterback. Comes in with experience as a senior.
Right.
They've got some great receivers as well. Be interesting to see what happens there. They announced yesterday that they've got a new series, USF in Florida. They're going to be playing 3 times in a 4-year stretch, including twice in Gainesville. It's going to be going on Florida Field 2022 and 2025. Then they're playing Raymond James in Tampa in 2023.
That's cool.
Yeah, they've only played once before. Florida won 38-14 in 2010. Now, tell me how you would handle this if you were a Gators fan.
Okay.
4 big blue chip recruits from South Florida, a couple from Aquinas, 1 from University, and actually 3 from Aquinas and 1 from University School. They go up to Gainesville. They're doing the whole thing where they put them in the Gators uniforms, and they've got a buddy, Miami wide receiver Mike Harley, who's saying, I dare you guys to flash the U in the Gator uniforms.
Oh, no.
It's on Facebook Live. They do. He snapshots the photo, puts it all over social media. So you've got 4 recruits in Gainesville in Gators uniforms throwing up the U.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Are you upset, or is it a big deal, or is it a no deal?
I think it'd be a bigger deal if it was FSU.
Okay, really?
I think because, I mean, they play
I don't
each
know,
other.
because
So,
I think Florida hates Miami so bad, and that's kind of the thing, because they've had the things where they're chucking oranges back and forth, and I think it's so bad.
Blood.
I think there's a lot of bad blood, because the Gators actually canceled and said, we're not going to play Miami anymore.
Oh.
The Canes wanted that, and the Gators like, well, no, we out.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think I know there's the big rivalry, but there's a lot of really bad blood between the two.
Wouldn't you think it'd make more sense if someone that's in your own, conference?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a huge deal, an enormous deal. They do play each other next year, finally, again, for the first time in like 100 years.
Yeah.
In Orlando at the Camping World Stadium next season, Miami against Florida.
That's going to be great.
So, that's going to be a lot of fun. And that's a huge, huge deal. So much so that I wouldn't be surprised if Florida says, you know what, guys? Maybe not this time.
Would you stop recruiting these guys?
Yeah, I would.
You're talking about a 4-star running back, 4-star cornerback, 4-star safety in the mix.
That is a terrible, terrible show in judgment on their part. You're wearing the school rival's uniform And
Throwing
you're
up to you.
Throwing up to you. It's a bad move, man.
There's some Gator fans that said, "Stop recruiting these guys. We don't need them
That's
here."
what I'm saying.
But I mean, of course they're always gonna jump to that.
Then I'm a
conclusion.
Hurricane fan. Come to Miami, guys. We'll take you.
What do you think about Dan Mullen? What did he say? They showed him the photo. He apparently was unfazed. No big deal. He doesn't care.
That's Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
He didn't care really at all?
At all?
Or was it just coach speak and said, oh, they're kids being kids?
The report on a Gator podcast I was listening to said he was, quote, unfazed.
Unfazed.
Yes.
The Gator podcast.
What does that sound like, by the way?
Yeah,
Awful. Awful.
I can only imagine. That's what I'm saying. Like, what credibility are you giving to the Gator podcast?
Oh,
It was
man.
atrocious.
Open swim.
Ohio State stopped recruiting a 5-star last year after he went to a game and openly on social media criticized the Buckeyes for playing their quarterback. He said that they needed to yank J.T. Barrett, and they pretty much stopped recruiting him that day.
See, I think that's actually less than what those guys did on Florida.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You're really high up on this
I
controversy.
am.
Jesus.
It's a very big deal. Throw them out.
All right, well, if you want to check out this show, you can. Diener showed his notes and how he cheats. It's on YouTube. You can also check out the podcast, listen to it commercial free, and also find us on Twitter. It's Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.